Good afternoon there. Welcome to Brian's Rides. It's been a while since I've been on my bike. I tell you what, I've had a great summer and I just haven't had a chance to get out and ride. I've been traveling. I've been gone on vacation. So first of all, the wife and I took a trip. We took the RV out to the west, out to Wyoming, Yellowstone, Grand Tetons, Colorado. We spent 3 weeks out on the in the west, just enjoying nature. You know, what can I say? It was a beautiful time. Got to go to Yellowstone, Grand Teton. It's just amazing. I've never been out there. And then we got back from the 3-week vacation. I was here for a week, and then I took my son, my wife and I took my son to Washington DC in the RV. So then we went out, you know, to the Northeast. So we've been from one end of the country to the other, just traveling around, and then we got back and then got busy, and then I put my bike in the shop. And so I just got my bike back yesterday, and I did some amazing things to it to make it fit me better. I'm 5'7", so I'm not a big guy, and if anybody knows, the Africa Twin is a very tall bike. In fact, when I went to buy my bike, I was looking at 2019 models, 2018 models, used, new used models that were still on the showroom floor. I actually sat on them and I couldn't fit. So when the 2020 model came out, I tried it on, and they had actually lowered it a little bit. So the seat height is a little bit lower, just perfect for me, or so I thought. So I've had it about a year and done a lot of rides, and if you've seen from my videos, I've gone down a couple of times, and a lot of that was just when I was, you know, in very slow or even stopped trying to maneuver, and I just can't get my footing because the bike is so tall. So I decided to start researching what I could do about that. I was looking at getting rid of the bike, getting me a different bike that would fit me better. But I love the Africa Twin because I can do so much with it. You know, it's just the perfect bike for touring, for going off-road. So, you know, part of me just wanted to keep the Africa Twin. So I looked at a company called Soupy's, and they had a lowering kit, and a couple of guys on the forums, and, you know, the Africa Twin Facebook page, they have that. And then I came across this one called Cruise Tune Suspension, and it's actually out of Australia. I talked to a guy that installed it on his Africa Twin, and he loves it. It's a little bit more complex of an install. You have to actually disassemble the front forks. There's a lowering mechanism in the front, and then a lowering mechanism on the rear shock. But it's not a coupler. You can't adjust it. So you either pick. You pick between 30 millimeters or 50 millimeters. I went with a 30 millimeter just to give me it's about an inch of clearance lower. I didn't want to go too low because I do like, you know, going off-road, and I didn't want to bottom out. So I went with the 30 millimeter lowering kit from Cruise Tune Suspension. I'll put a link down here below. And so today's, other than coming back from the Honda shop, Cool Springs Power Sports, who did the install in Franklin, Tennessee, this is the first time I've had a chance to ride it. So far, I like it. I think it actually handles better in the corners, because when you go to lower a bike, you're moving the center of gravity down a little bit. Okay, so anytime you can get your center of gravity lower, you're going to corner a little bit better. So I like it so far. I do. We'll have to see how it performs off-road. And I don't think that I sacrificed a whole lot on ground clearance. You know, an inch on an Africa Twin is not that much. And I don't do crazy stuff. So I think it'll be just fine. So anyway, I'm going to talk about some other mods that I've done on my bike since I've had it, because I've had it just about a year. Got it last July in 2020, and so yeah, so let me talk about some of the other mods I've done. Okay, well, I've obviously made it home and I've changed clothes, and now I'm going to talk to you about the modifications that I've done to my Africa Twin. So first of all, when I bought it back in June of 2020, it was a brand new bike, so there weren't a lot of aftermarket parts available for sale at that time. So I kind of had to go with what was available. So the first thing I did was I purchased these crash bars and the lower engine guards. And if you look at them real close, you can probably see some scratch marks. You may not be able to see it on the video, but they've really protected the bike. Now, I know a lot of people will say that, you know, the OEM crash bars and engine guards are probably not the best. And I kind of agree with that, but this is what was available to me when I bought my bike. So they have served me and they've protected the bike. I've had it down a few times already. If you've watched some of my previous videos, you've seen some of that. So the next thing that I want to talk about is tires. Now, I upgraded my tires to the Dunlop Trail Max Mission. They're not full knobbies, as you can see, but that's not the type of riding that I do. So I usually do a mix of street, dirt, gravel. So these work fine for me and they'll last a long time. I have those on both the front and the rear. Another modification that I did was I installed the taller windshield, the windscreen. The 2020 DCT and the standard models come with a shorter windscreen. If you got the Adventure Sports, it comes with a taller one. So this is the Honda OEM taller windscreen. It really helps a lot when you're going down the road and at cruising speeds. Another thing that I got were these Barkbuster Storm hand protectors. They have a full metal piece that wraps all the way around, and if you lay your bike over, they're really going to protect your bike. The first thing that went on my bike was these hand guards, the OEM hand guards, because they were just made out of plastic and there was no metal piece to protect the bike. So the other thing I want to show you is, while we're on this side, I installed this little USB adapter right here for the it charges the battery. You can also buy a battery tender kit like this with a USB adapter here, and when you plug those in, then you can hook up your accessories. You can run them through the tank bag, which is what I do, and you can charge your devices. So another thing that I wanted when I first bought the bike were a set of luggage, and so I got the Touratech pannier racks. That's what's behind here. They were available for this bike and they fit just fine. And then I went with the Tusk Olympus soft luggage, one on each side. I can't remember the capacity of these, but I'll put it down in the link. I also got a 22-liter small Tusk roll-up bag here, which I carry an air compressor and some tools and different things in here. So this allows me to go moto-camping with the luggage. And a lot of people like the hard luggage. I kind of prefer the soft luggage because if I go down and get my leg caught in here, it's not going to rip it off. I have been down with these. They do tend to flex, and as you can see, they look brand new. They're not scuffed or anything. The next thing that I want to talk about is kind of a unique mod. If you can see it, I did a little, I put a little canister right here. This is an Msr Fuel Bottle. I actually built a rack for it out of an old erector set. It just mounts onto the pannier rack. This gives me a little bit of reserve fuel in case I get into trouble when I'm out in the woods or you know, doing some off-road stuff. I've had to use it a couple of times. Let's see. I did install an Altrider rack. If you have the standard or the DCT models in the 2020, they do not come with a rack, but the Adventure Sports does. So I installed this rack. It allows me to carry my DJI Air 2S drone case. So we'll be seeing more of that in future videos. Let's see. what else? You can see another view of the rear tires there. They have probably less than 1,000 miles on them, so you can see they're holding up real well. Oh, of course, tank bag. There's a different variety of tank bags that you can get. I went with the Core-Tec. I like the magnetic type bag. I didn't want the rash on my tank from the straps, but some people like the straps. I do have straps under here that I can run through here and tie it down if I'm going off-road. But the tank bag works good. I can keep my electronics in it and also charge them and keep them dry. And then I have a little map insert here that I can put in if I need it. Up on the dash, one of the first things that I had to do was buy a phone mount. As you can see, there's my phone mount. It's just a cheap one, but it's worked fine for my bike. I do have a GoPro mount right here. The GoPro's not installed. This is a GoPro Remote, which allows me to turn my helmet cam on. And then this is the DJI remote control holder right here. So other than the cruise tune suspension that I've already talked about, that pretty much sums it up. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to know what kind of mods you have on your Africa Twin. I'll link the descriptions down below. And thanks a lot.